Liverpool were back in action again last night. They drew 0-0 with Chelsea in the Premier League, as the Reds still look to chase a Champions League space. In today's video, of course, as always, we'll go through the 5 talking points from the game, whilst also going over the big news Fabrizio Romano has provided with regards to Liverpool in the summer transfer window. Not only that, but we'll also cover the latest Liverpool news from the last 24 hours. There is so much to cover in today's video. And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. Before we get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. Liverpool's pre-season plans will take them back to Southeast Asia, this time for a one-stop friendly tournament. The Reds travelled back to Asia last summer, stopping in Bangkok and Singapore, and this time around were anticipated to return to the USA. Late last month though, Liverpool journalist David Inch reported via Football Insider that the club will instead head back to Asia for a one-stop tour. Singapore was deemed the most likely destination, and an outlet in the region, the Straits Times, has now confirmed the report and stated that the Reds will feature in a friendly tournament. They list the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, Bayern Munich and Roma as potential opponents in the tournament, with all expected to venture to Asia throughout the summer. That would of course set Liverpool on course to reunite with Sadio Mane after his move to Bayern Munich last summer. Manchester City are also travelling east with plans to stop in Japan and Thailand, and therefore could be considered as a potential opponent in the summer. The Straits Times goes on to say that a friendly tournament will not be part of the International Champions Cup, which Liverpool were expected to be involved with in 2020 alongside Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United. The one-stop tour will enable Liverpool to maintain some continuity in their training and preparations for the 23-24 campaign, having felt the ill effects heading into the current campaign. Jurgen Klopp admitted that it was a mistake to head to Asia so early into pre-season last year, and this time around it will be pushed further back in the summer schedule. A training camp in Europe, likely in Austria or France, is also expected to be a part of the plans once more, in what is a hugely significant summer for the club on and off the field. Jurgen Klopp has declared Liverpool will spend in the summer, and the club's owners are said to be fully behind the manager and ready to have significant spending. 3 midfielders are set to be bare minimum in the summer, and there is an argument that a centre-back is also required, plus further squad additions. In a summer that the club need to get it right, and Klopp insisted at the end of March that the club will definitely spend in the summer, but for who and how many he would not say. For the targets reported, such as Jude Bellingham and Mason Mount, they alone will demand in excess of £150 million, and FSG must be prepared to back Klopp. And they are just about to do that, as the Athletic's James Pearce, who, when promoting his latest article on Twitter, said FSG intend to back him with serious funds this summer, with the German retaining the owner's full support. In Pearce's article itself, it said that FSG no serious investment is required in the upcoming transfer window to turn around Liverpool's fortunes around. There is a sympathy in Boston for the problems Klopp's been wrestling with throughout this season, and while a drop-off was inevitable, no one foresaw the current levels of demise. FSG is still looking for a minority investment, and the conclusion of their search would not only inject valuable funds into the club, but also provide needed stability from the top. They may even be anticipating to have source outside investment by the time the summer arrives. No doubt they'll be hopeful of just that, considering the funds required to inject into the club. We have heard cliché phrases like armed with a war chest and claims of hundreds of millions of pounds to spend in years previous. It has not quite got to that level yet, but there is still time. Needless to say, Liverpool will still be required to be savvy operators in the transfer market, as they cannot make a £50 million plus mistake like Manchester City and Chelsea can. For this, they will rely on a sporting director, and while Julian Ward is currently overseeing the necessary duties until the summer exit, a successor is yet to be appointed. It leaves plenty of stability for Liverpool to find at the top when it comes to investors and a new sporting director, but it's clear that FSG and Klopp are aligned on what the squad needs. Now to make it come to fruition in the summer, so we can see how serious they really are. Whilst it is exciting news that FSG will be backing Klopp in the summer in terms of incomings, Fabrizio Romano has provided some big Liverpool transfer news with regards to outgoings. The transfer guru said that Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain will be leaving the club in the summer. He tweeted, "Naby Keita will leave Liverpool on a free transfer, no changes on the plan for him, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, decisions are made since November, and same will happen with Arthur Melo's loan. Keita is currently considering many options to try a new challenge soon." This probably comes as no surprise to supporters, as both have rarely featured this season for one reason or another, but mainly down to injuries. This is a vast change of events from what happened at the start of the season, with Romano claiming that Naby Keita was a key player in Jurgen Klopp's plans going forward, and that the Guinean international would be signing a new deal. However, injuries, as we have said, have been a regular occurrence, and so far this season hasn't really had a run in the team nor made an impact. Liverpool put in a second comedic performance of the past few days at Chelsea, yet somehow by fortune, Alisson Becker and VAR managed to keep a clean sheet and earn a point. In this part of the video, we'll discuss the 5 talking points from Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. A wild-looking lineup. Prior to the match, Jurgen Klopp spoke of his dissatisfaction at the hammering by Manchester City and the performances within it, intimating there was scope, perhaps need for alterations. He said, "We have opportunities to change and we have to change. We cannot just close our eyes and do the same again. This situation means the door is miles open for everybody to get into the team because there's only 2 or 3 players that have pretty much their spot safe. The boys know that. That's the only thing I've told them." As such, there cannot be many surprise faces in the dressing room at the number of alterations. Alisson, Konate, Fabinho, Henderson and Jota with a quintet to keep their places from the Etihad debacle, while switches at fullback, centre-back, midfield and attack saw forgotten faces Tsimikas, Gomez, Matip, Firmino and Curtis Jones, all with people coming into the side. The reaction required was presumably effort, energy and a bit more intent, but equally presumably cohesion wasn't expected of the group. For a team who couldn't hold a lineup a few days ago with regular faces in it, this new mixture was all over the place in the opening stages and could have been 3 down in 10 minutes due purely to big gaps and no markers in places on simple through balls. If the gauntlet was laid down to the irregulars to stake a claim, it would have to come as a result of individual effort and technical output, and not too many could realistically hold their hand up and say they passed the test here. Underperformers on an already poor night. Where to begin then? The defensive unit was, well, not one. It was all over the place, even if it did marginally at the night went on to into those terms. But Tsimikas was wretched in both halves of the pitch, underlined by being one of the first off just past the hour mark, while on the opposite side Gomez was hit and miss. Neither centre-back can claim to have had a fine outing, both making some last-ditch recoveries, but also both being utterly turned inside out and leaving runners in acres of space, while ahead of them nobody in midfield offered any semblance of control, poise, composure on the ball or defensive resilience. This was genuinely a battle to pick out of positives in any area for the first hour of the game, and few can seriously claim to have pushed their case to start at Anfield against Arsenal. Where's the attack gone? Right, let's set aside the manner of goals for a moment. After all, we scored 1 against City and got trounced, while Chelsea could and should have had 3 in 10 minutes. Such are the small margins between finishing, winning and generally looking like wasteful Burks. But what about chance creation, cohesive attacking play, and having an actual approach? It all seems to have completely disappeared. The idea of how to build up disintegrated, the very notion of being a side, which attacks a mere theory which others may adhere to, but no relevance in red. In general, considering we've not been winning games, the non-watcher might have expected Liverpool to be, as they say, having a go in the latter stages of games. However, again, not so. Jurgen and his not-so-willy men mustered 1 shot in the second half against Real, another one after the break against Manchester City, and just 1 here again following the break against Chelsea. This cannot be taken as a criticism of the forwards either, despite the fact that the starting trios were largely lifeless and ineffective, but as an overall reapproach of the team setup. Liverpool used to press high effectively, we don't now. We used to have fluid interplay between the front 3, we don't now. We used to have a set-piece threat, we don't. We used to have fullbacks creating by deep crosses and short cutbacks. The starters completed 1 cross between them. Dismal, desperate and disastrous is the 3 words I would use. Bench boost. So changes are one thing, but the subs are still there to be used, and it was much discussed on how those would come on versus Manchester City actually contravened to make the team worse. If anything, the 4 who came on in the big roll, the dice, managed fewer than 30 touches between them in around 25 minutes. This time it was a double subs for Mo Salah and Andy Robertson on first, then James Milner and Cody Gakpo, all on for those unfamiliar starters who had no doubt started to feel the pace of the game. We'll sum up their collective efforts nice and quickly. Nothing. That done, the question turns to Jurgen Klopp and his coaches. Why are the subs not impacting? It is down to the lack of ability to motivate or unclear tactical instruction. It is an acceptance from the players that they'll just be back in the lineups anyway, even after one game of all change. The boss spent most of the game livid, frustrated and raging on the touchline at Henderson, at Matip, later at Mo, at everyone really, after not adhering to their job at hand. The problem is that it's not that clear what the job at hand is right now, on or off the ball, as nobody appears to do much of anything. On to Arsenal, and is there anything left? Come the end of the weekend, Liverpool almost certainly know whether the top four is still a possibility or a pipe dream. No points from City away wasn't a disaster, 1 point from here is an opportunity wasted, given how bad Chelsea have also been and the fact they have no manager. Yet 4 points from City, Chelsea and Arsenal would be par, let's say, if not outright good. Anything less and the season is an irrelevance at this stage. Liverpool have been left clinging onto the vague premises of being better in the bigger games in this term. The last few days have knocked that theory on the head. Beat Arsenal at home and convincingly, or there can be no facade left, pretending on the absolute overhaul isn't required. Perhaps that would be for the best in the eyes of some. Liverpool fans, what did you make of our performance against Chelsea? And what do you make of Naby Keita's time at Liverpool? Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video. As always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. Remember, we're currently having a sale on all our Liverpool merchandise, so do shop the collection by going to copiclothing.com or going down into the link in the description and buying them there. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.